Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Hope you're having a great day today. As you can see, we've got something very, very special in the studio today. Yes, welcome back to the channel. Now, as you guys know, one of my favorite things to do is to find small builders making incredible instruments and kind of give them a bit of a spotlight. These guys don't have the marketing budget of Gibson, of Fender, of Ibanez, of PRS. They're small builders making incredible guitars. So today I'm featuring a guitar from Valenti. Let's grab the case and open it up. All right, let's crack this case and see what we got inside. Oh baby, check that out. Ice blue finish, gold hardware, flame carved top. Let's grab the guitar, take a closer look. So here it is in all its glory. This is the Nebula from Valenti guitars. And as you can see, it's in this incredible ice blue trans finish. That's not only on the top, but dang, on the back of the neck. Looks so incredible. So what we're gonna do is give you guys just the overview of this guitar, play a bunch of tones, and then after that I'll get into the nitty-gritty specs. But here we go with the overview. So I've been building this guitar with the guys from Valenti for the last probably 4 months. And when I say building this guitar, I mean sitting on my couch and emailing them specs while they create this masterpiece. But anyway, yeah, this is the Nebula model as I mentioned. Let's go through and check out some of the specs that I picked. So we need to talk about this neck. What a showstopper. So it's quarter sawn flame maple neck in the same ice blue finish as the front face of the guitar with carbon reinforcement rods. This thing is going to be super stable. And I should mention I got them to do a nice satin finish, so it's super playable. Now the theme for this guitar is blue, gold, and black. So we wanted to establish that right on the headstock. So we've got gold Schaller locking tuners with black buttons, of course, on the matching headstock. And then we move on to the ebony fingerboard, which is jet black. And then we get that crazy ice blue flame top with kind of black and gold pickups. So everything kind of on the front face is really unified with that theme. And on the back side, bam, we got satin black. Very, very smooth. That heel joint is just insane, hey? Just looks absolutely beautiful. So we've got a quarter sawn mahogany body. You can see how thick that maple top is just by looking kind of on either side of the neck into the scoops. So very, very thick carved maple top, mahogany body, and obviously maple neck, ebony fingerboard. Now, as for this section of the guitar, we've got a gold Schaller trem system, and it's set up to float so we can bend up and down. We've got a 3-way switch recessed into the carved top. Looks really beautiful. And then we've got a master volume, a master tone, and this one splits the pickups. So that's a quick look at the Nebula. Let's plug it in and take a listen to some tones. After that, I'll go through in much greater detail, all the detailed specs of this model. Alright, so now let's look at some of the more detailed specs on this model. First of all, let's start on the headstock. Now, something I always look for is very minimal tilt back on the headstock. So as you can see here, there's almost nothing. It's probably like 8 or 10 degrees, something super minimal, just enough to keep the strings in the nut. That's going to help with tuning stability, especially with our floating trem. And of course, we've got straight string pull through the nut as well, and locking tuners, no string trees, so a really, really great design on this headstock. Now, moving on to the fingerboard, I requested a 10 to 12 inch radius, which is a little bit different because I don't like things like super flat, like, 16 or 18 or something like that. So we've got sort of a nice 10 right here, and then it flattens out so gradually it's really hard to notice. So it would play pretty much like a 12, but that's what we got here. And we've got jumbo stainless steel frets. So I'll be able to play, on this guitar for a lifetime, pass it on to my kids, and they'll be able to enjoy it without having to refret it. Now, of course, I already talked about the main specs of the neck: quarter sawn, flame maple, carbon reinforcement rods, satin finish. Now we want to talk about this glue-in heel joint. And of course, that satin on the back just really sets off that joint. And you sort of got 3 colors there that kind of go along with the theme, sort of a gold, or more natural here, black and blue. But yeah, that heel joint, I'll try to zoom in a little bit, or maybe I'll take some close-up shots, but it's kind of rounded and it just looks absolutely beautiful. Again, you sort of get this nice little line that comes all the way through here. No harsh or square edges, just everything very, very smooth. The satin finish on the back, love it. We've got our belly cut here and just sort of rounded off corners everywhere. Okay, and on the front side, in terms of the aesthetic and the design, Valenti kind of designed this really similar to a violin top. That's what this carve is. It's taken from a violin. And of course in Italy, they've been used to building those for hundreds of years. So we have just sort of that carve with a little bit of a lip here. Now, the nice thing about this lip is it doesn't actually dig in when you're strumming. Just the way the guitar sits, I mean, I guess you guys won't be able to really see that, but just the way your hand sits, it doesn't actually dig into your arm like some other models, so that's really nice as well. So this model has 24 frets, and because of this nice scoop here, you can get all the way up to the 24th fret. Fret ends are very nice as well, as you would expect on a handmade guitar like this. Pickups are Valenti's own, so they wind them for this model, but of course if you wanted something hotter or more vintage or whatever, they would just wind it slightly different for you. And we've got roller saddles on our Schaller trim. Really nice touch. And yeah, everything is smooth and set up really well. Now, as you would expect on a model like this, the fit and finish is excellent. From the way the nut is cut to, the fret ends and the fretwork, to how the pickups are recessed into the body without any mounting rings and stuff like that. Just keeps everything clean looking, to the way the switches and the knobs are recessed into the carved top, the binding that goes around, the perimeter. Everything looks super clean. So yeah, overall construction on this model is excellent. All right, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. Let's take the back covers off, see what this thing looks like underneath. All right, so let's pull off the back cavity covers. See if I can pop this out. It's a nice tight fit, I've gotta say. There we go. Okay, so there's a little peek inside. First things first, very nicely shielded. And very, very clean. All the wiring and stuff, you've got your output jack there, your volume and your tone with your push-pull, and then your three-way toggle. So very, very nice and clean. Let's take a look in the trem cavity. This one hopefully should be easier to pop out. There we go. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's very different than, what you might see on the average floating trim. So this is a Schaller trim. And if you guys know, if you have your standard fender or whatever, you've got 2 screws and then a little spring claw and then your springs. Here we've got something bolted straight to the body, very, very beefy and heavy duty. That's awesome. And then you've got an Allen adjustment here and 2 giant screws for moving, very, very precise for your floating trim. So that looks super cool. I've never actually used a system like that before. So very, very neat. Now, as for the overall ergonomics and playability, very wonderful. As I mentioned, satin neck, so you can just slide back and forth, not going to stop you at all. And of course, full access to the upper frets. Now, in terms of balance, it's wonderful. As all great designs are. No headstock dive. In fact, if I push it down, it just pops right back into playing position. So really, really nice. You don't have to support the weight of, the guitar with your hands. You can just play the thing, which is the whole point. So really well balanced, satin neck, full access. So playability, really great. Now, I don't often mention the documentation that comes with guitars, but this is one of the nicest booklets I've ever seen with an instrument. It's all, filled in by the builder, all by hand. So signed, dated, model number, and then, all the specs filled out by the builder. So it just has a really nice kind of personalized feel. So, if you ever forget what your specs are or whatever, you can just open the book, see exactly how it's built. Just absolutely wonderful. So I'll link to the Valenti site in the video description below. You guys can check out the guitar there and some of their other models. And let's be honest, when you have a flame top like this, it doesn't matter what your favorite finish is, it's gonna look absolutely killer. Hope you guys enjoyed the demo. If you did, be sure to subscribe to the channel. You can check out all my links to the t-shirt store, tab store in the video description as well. Other than that, have yourself a great day.